Good evening, and thank you everyone for tuning in for another episode of The Conversation. As always, I am your host for the evening, Roger A. Franco. So the topic for tonight's conversation is a little different than some of the other shows that I've done before, but I definitely feel it's a relevant topic to discuss, and it has to do with relationships, specifically polyamorous relationships, which means three people involved in one relationship. So as you can imagine, it's a very interesting topic that I definitely wanted to get into for the conversation. And as always, I always have the subject matter experts here to join me in the discussion, and tonight is no different. So these three individuals you see here sitting to my left are actually involved in a polyamorous relationship right now. So who better to speak to than the actual subject matter experts? So for those of you who know me, you know that I'm very good friends with this gentleman over here, producer extraordinaire, Mr. Charlie Rock.
Yo, what's up, baby?
All right, see how smooth he is. Sitting to his right is Drea Rock, if I may.
Drea Rock.
And sitting to her right is Maria Rock.
Okay.
And these obviously are the Rocks.
There you go.
So, but before we go any further on a serious note, I just wanted to thank you all for being here tonight to discuss something that's very personal and giving people insight into your lives. So I definitely appreciate that. And I think it's going to be very interesting. I think you're going to give a lot of insight and provide some knowledge on, this type of relationship and, what it takes to work. In doing some research for the show, I found out that between 4 to 5% of all couples are in a polyamorous relationship. So it's a little more common than a lot of people think. So let's jump right into it. Before we get started, though, I wanted to read a little quote that I came across that I think sort of frames the discussion really well. It has to do with love and relationships. So connecting with someone romantically, emotionally, and physically can be really amazing, but there's a lot of work that goes into building a good relationship. No relationship is perfect all the time, but in a healthy one, both people feel good about the relationship. It takes more than attraction. It takes work, and both of you have to be willing to put in the effort. So, obviously anyone who's been in a relationship understands and sees the reality and the truth in that statement. But when it comes to dealing with three people in a relationship, I think that makes it a lot more complex and difficult. Would you all agree with that?
Yes.
Yes, times two.
Okay. So I think the very first question, the most obvious question that people want to know is, how did this relationship come about?
Y'all want me to?
Well, because technically they were in a long-term relationship before I even came along. So
Okay.
Yeah. So me and Jay has been together over 8 years now. So it's been a while. So me and Jay was together. We've always dabbled in the lifestyle, and then it became, well, you know what? Rather than just talking to random females all the time, why not just get one that we, that we're comfortable with? Mm-hmm. See where it goes.
Now, before you go further, who initiated that discussion? Or was it sort of like a mutual thing that you both said, you know what, why not just stick with one?
I believe I know I initiated the conversation. Let's be honest. But for the most part, I think she can agree and she can speak for herself. I think from a perspective of just dating in general is hard. So imagine what it is to try to get someone who's compatible with two people.
Right.
So you'll get someone who's like, oh, I'm cool and I like y'all, but for me, it's like you can see for them, it's just more of a, yo, this is something to do in the meantime. I want to experiment and see what this is about, and it ain't serious. So like you get tired of dealing with that.
I feel you.
And somebody may like me and may not like her, or for the most part they'll like her
and they don't like
me. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different dynamic.
Okay. So when were you so how did you get into the mix of things?
Charlie reached out to me, through social media.
Okay.
You know how that goes, sliding in the DMs. And
Okay.
I saw, because, you know, I followed him back, and he saw he had this amazingly beautiful girlfriend. It's like, get out of my DMs. I don't want to talk to you. And
Okay.
yeah. So then, of course, it's like, well, maybe I'm asking for the both of us.
All
So
right.
then right at the top, no, I'm not here to play. No, I'm not, you know, I'm not down with that. I'm not going to do it. And, you know, leave me alone.
Okay.
And eventually time passed, and, you know, he still would reach out, and we actually connected over music.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I was a little older. So I'm a big 90s R&B, hip hop, you know, and I was talking, you know, I'd posted about music and stuff like that. And then we started talking, and then we actually became friends. So it was like a month of us talking and just being friends. And I would talk to him about my relationships and things going on. And then it was just eventually, you know, I had a push from a friend of mine. And he was like, you know, why not give it a shot? Why not try it? You know what I mean, nothing else was working out. So it's like, you know, at some point you got to realize it's you. It's, you know, you making bad choices. So why not choose something that you wouldn't normally choose?
Interesting. Okay. And so, Drea, in that whole process, did you try to convince Maria to get down with the situation? Like, how did that work?
Well, the thing about me, I let him do all the footwork. I let him rock out.
Okay.
He brought her to my attention, and he was like, hey, look, I'm talking, you know, to this girl at the moment. I was like, okay, cool. I'm more about the vibes. I'm an energy type of person, so cool, set up a date, let's go out to eat, and you know, I'll take it from there. If I vibe with her, then, you know, I'll take it from there.
Right.
But I'm not the type to
put in the legwork.
Yeah,
Charlie
I let
had
him
to
do
go.
all of that.
Okay. So obviously the vibe was right, because, you know, here we are today. You know, as I was preparing for the show, you know, I spoke to a lot of people about it, the topic, and you know, I had mentioned to Charlie, it evokes a lot of emotion out of people, in particular women. So one of the things I wanted to ask, particularly to you two ladies, what has been the response that you've gotten from people who know about your situation, and in particular women? What has been their feedback?
I get more of the positive reactions, and
Okay.
I get more of the curious ones, like, hey, like, I'm trying to start this with my boyfriend, so how did you go about everything? So it's not nothing negative.
Okay.
I get the little Debbie Downers here and there, but, you know, I don't pay attention to people and their negative reactions, so I'm still going
Okay.
to live my life
Okay.
at the end of the day.
All right. And for you, Maria?
And my circles mainly has been mostly positive. A lot of people have been basically, you know, as long as you're happy, you know, they'll have a little bit of a speech of, well, you know, you don't have to do that. You know, you are, you know, you're independent, you take it. It's like, I know I don't have to, but, you know, oh, so you're happy? That's all that matters.
Okay.
The
Okay.
only, like, when people get, the only negativity has been actually more from Charlie's side and, like, his family and his friends. Not everybody. It's actually, as time has passed, it's gotten way better. But
Okay.
initially, there was some negativity.
Okay. So that actually is a good segue into something I wanted to ask, as far as the families have been concerned. How has that, you know, the relationship been received from your immediate family?
Like mine, I don't have much family, so it's based. I have a daughter. It took her some time to adjust to it, but she's fine with it. She really cares about them, and you know, whatever. Like whatever other family I have, they know about it, and it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And for you guys?
Same thing. I don't have a lot of family, but the ones that I do have, they don't know about it. I guess in due time for me, when I'm ready to kind of announce this, you know, I'll
Right.
do it. But at the moment, they don't know about it.
Okay.
I want to address the fact that she made me sound like a minion. I do all the footwork.
Yes.
She
Mine-
did make you sound like a minion.
Yeah, he do all the footwork and bring them to me.
Yes.
And anyway, for me, it's been, you know, I would say for the most part good. And then you have your sprinkles of bad here and there. But again, when your happiness on the line, I really could care less about how anybody feel. I always say this: if you live your truth, nobody's gonna ever hold it against you. So
True
that's the way
indeed.
I feel when it comes to this. At first, like, my family's real. Like, a lot of my family's religious. So from a religious standpoint, it's like, nah, you know, they don't really agree with this. But then if you know scripture, because I grew up in church and I know scripture, and they start there, well, the Bible says this and that. And I'm like, well, David had multiple wives. Solomon had multiple wives, right? And if your God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, what has changed? So this is something that's been going on for centuries. You get what I'm saying? So as long as you happy, that's all that matters.
Right. And in particular, I was interested to know about because I know you have children.
Right.
And you had mentioned about your child. So what has been the reaction and like what has been the discussion with the children about the relationship?
With the kids, they basically my kids love them both, and most times they probably more excited to see them at times than they are me. And I get it, but like I just explained to them, it's different. And especially in this day and age with so many things going on with like transgenders and kids who like, if you're growing up and now they're very sensitive on kids growing up who like kids of the same gender, whatever the case can be, like it's important to preach love, like regardless to what it may look like or what it is, like if it's about love, then it should be accepted. Right. So my kids on that note, my kids are very cool with them and, very good relationship.
Modern family.
Right. Modern family.
So what would you say is, some of the more difficult or challenging aspects of the relationship to maintain the relationship?
Ladies?
Time. I think time is a big one. You want to be fair to the individual pieces of it as well as to it as a whole. Life gets, who has to work and different things going on. I think also perspective.
Okay.
You kind of, when you sit in your chair and you see things a certain way, you get lost in that and you forget you have not just one, but two whole other people here that have a very different perspective. You know what I mean? A different seat where they have the different needs and wants. So you have to remember that.
Okay.
For me, it would be just keeping everybody, feeling included and making sure nobody feels separated at any point.
Okay.
For me.
Time is a big issue because obviously it's work. And for me, especially because it's work, studio, you know what I'm saying? And then it's kind of like, all right, well, I got to be locked in. I not only have one woman, I have two of them. And as most men know, dealing with one is hard enough. But anything in life worth having is worth working for. So as long as you're working at it, it'll work.
And just so y'all know, the reason this whole topic came about, or how I got the idea, I actually ran into Charlie one evening on the train, and we were talking about it. And he looked a little tired, and I figured that all of this could be attributed to that. So I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Thank you.
So one of the questions that a female viewer wanted me to ask of Charlie was, how can you equally give yourself to each of them, allowing for a harmonious relationship?
To be honest, for me in the beginning, like to doing this, I never looked at this like this is something that I want to go do this. It was just something that kind of happened. I started to realize like I'm into girls, I like girls, but why not have best of both worlds and have two women that's into each other and actually love each other. So as you start to, and again, there's no pamphlet on this. So it's like you fix it as you go. And one of the things that I found is really important is you have to build relationships together and separately as well. Because if the only time Maria hangs around Dre is when she's with me, then what kind of relationship would they have? You dig what I'm saying? And vice versa. If the only time Dre is around is if me and Maria's around, it won't work. So I think it's very important to build each other up separately and together as a whole. So as much time as we spend together, we spend apart. Like there's days I'll be with Dre alone, there's days I'm with Maria alone, there's days they're together, and I'm either working or in the studio getting busy. So,
right. Okay.
So,
and would this be considered an open relationship?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. Nah, not at all.
Sure ain't. Sure ain't.
I mean, don't we? If we choose to talk to another female, it's something that if we choose to do, we'll do. But that's about
But
it.
it's something that we communicate
Right, we're all
within
just
all
like
of
saying
us.
that,
It's
right.
not about someone going off and doing something on their own.
So in that type of situation, what you just explained, that would be considered almost like sort of like cheating or stepping out
Saying, yeah.
on the situation.
If you're not communicating, like this is Charlie goes and does the legwork. If it's someone that I'm talking to, if I decide to do the legwork, let's say it's like, all right, well, this is what's happening with this person. So just so that but everybody's in communication. If Drea decides that she wants to talk to somebody, and it's like we're all in communication, everybody knows what's going on.
I'm kind of getting the idea that Charlie has to do all the legwork.
So, fellas, if you
no,
want to
I've
make this
done-
work,
I've done
you
some
got to
of
be
the
a Foot
legwork.
Clan.
I've done
You
some
got to
of
be
it.
a minion and do all the legwork.
You gotta
Put
be
it
the
out
minion.
there.
Whatever. I've done some of the legwork. It's fine.
Look, I for me personally, it's more like I'm very personable. I'm cool with everybody, so I'm easy to kind of like get along with. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they aren't.
I'm the worst one.
Right?
Right. Well,
I can tell. Dre will put somebody off.
Dre got 21 questions for everybody.
I'm the
That's-
wrong- I'm
Yes,
the
and
You
it's
know?
the same question. So, are you actually into women?
Because I don't like
Are you
wasting
really
my
a part
time.
of this? Yeah.
I don't like wasting my time, so I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna grill you and I'm gonna drill questions. And if I like you, then maybe you can stay. But if not, like I'm not dealing with you.
she,
First time we met, the wall was like this high, and it was actually only me talking to her and telling her about me, and it was like, oh wow, really? Then
I like-
all of a sudden, it was like, oh okay.
I passed her when we got in, and I was
we,
like,
we
"All right,
met at a
let's do this."
restaurant, you know what I mean?
Oh,
and I'm
really?
sitting at the bar waiting, and she just shot right by me, and I was like, wow, it could have, no, hi, okay.
And it was just you two that met?
No, it was the three of
Charlie
us.
was there. Okay.
yeah.
So what was the first, if you can remember, the first solo date that you and Drea went on without Charlie?
That is a great question. I don't know. You know what it is? I call it our adventures. We like pick up and decide to do things. Oh, we bumped a new cafe over on 116th Street. Let's go.
Right. I feel you.
What you know? What the Sex Museum? Let's go. So it's like we pick these
Random.
little, these random. Like we went to go to a wholesale place down in I think Chinatown. We started walking and bumped into a food bazaar. It's just like these random things that we do that we call it's our little adventures, and these are the things that we do.
Everything is based around food. If you don't haven't
And you be
noticed
right
that.
there.
Close to it. So what?
Everything is based
so
on
what?
Right there.
Hey, that's something you all enjoy. That's good.
There you go.
That's a good thing. So what would you say, we talked about what some of the more challenging things are. What do you enjoy most about the relationship?
It's it's funny because it's like, when you going through something, or you feeling down, or you're like, you don't have just one person to reach out to, you have two. And it's like you have two whole people who have your back.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm going through something with my daughter, and they both know her, so it's like, don't worry, calm down, we got this, so it's like it's what you have in a typical relationship, but double.
Okay. Good
You know what I
answer.
mean?
Good
someone
answer.
to be lazy with, someone to watch movies with. You know what I mean? If he's off doing his thing,
Right.
you know what I mean? We have like I feel as if we have a really great bond, and there's like, because we're both females, there's things that we're into that he's not gonna enjoy.
He got on my nerve. I could pack my bags and go to her house.
Right.
I don't got no worries.
Shout out to all my Xbox players.
Yeah, exactly.
Know what I go through.
Yes,
Xbox.
exactly.
Okay, Dre, what do you enjoy most about the relationship?
It's the same thing. I'm able to do more of the, hey, let's just do some random shit today.
Right.
And she's with it.
Right.
With him, it's just kind of like I'm pulling teeth a little bit.
Right.
Like, that's boring. I don't want to go do that. Okay, well, I'm going to call Maria. Goodbye. Like,
Right.
just the random stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Mr. Rock.
Well, when they aren't bashing me like this, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say this. I got two very great, strong women in my corner. I'm lucky to have them both. So at any given time, no matter what we go through, I always enjoy their company. I love them to death. Obviously, as most men, like the first thing they think of is like, oh, dog, you get to sleep with 2 females.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, but it's much more than that. But the companionship to me is the best part about this.
Okay.
And it's always great because we're odd, so it's 3 of us. So it's like if me and her are having a quarrel, she could be the deciding factor or the voice of reason, and vice versa.
Okay.
See here,
That's interesting because that's something I definitely want to get into. So we're going to take a little break right now, and we're going to come back to part 2, and we're going to discuss if there is some sort of issue or discrepancy that comes up. How do you all handle it? Stay tuned. The conversation. We are here. We are back. Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned to the conversation. We are here discussing polyamorous relationships with The Rocks, 3 lovely people. Again, thank you for sharing insight into your life with us. Appreciate it. So before we went on break, we discussed if there's an altercation or, some sort of issue comes up between 2 of you. So how is that handled? Does the third person stay out of it? Does the third person try to mediate? Like, how does that work?
I just want to say, obviously, because of my size, when we do fight, I always win.
Oh God.
Let's just put that out there. You can answer the question.
Anyway, honestly, I don't like to get, like, if it's them 2, I don't like to get in the middle of it. Because what winds up happening is Charlie be like, right, like, you know what I mean? Right. And it's like, oh, you not hard enough. You got to be harder. And it's like, me and Drea have our own style of communication. So it's like, I don't bark like you do. So he thinks I'm not. And then it's like, if I say something that aligns with him, now it's like, oh, now y'all ganging up on me. And it's like, oh my God. So it's like, you don't win. So it's best to, don't get me wrong, you get pulled in anyway, because at the end of the day, the state of the if 2 of us is having an issue, it does affect the whole relationship. The state of the relationship is not good. So you always want to make sure that your other partners is doing well and that they're okay. But to actually get in the middle of it is really try not to. Okay.
I mind my business. If they get into something, I mind my business. I'll do like a check-in. Y'all good? Okay.
Right.
I'll let y'all figure it out. Okay. Y'all have y'all own relationship also. So it's just kind of like, y'all gonna be okay.
Okay.
This is the bullshit I gotta deal with.
Oh my God.
Usually, all right. So the truth is, like, I agree with what both of them saying. So for me, it usually is like, if I have an issue with one of them, I'm gonna hear it. If I have an issue with the other, I'm gonna hear it. When they have an issue with each other, I hear it, right? So they'll be, but then when they talk, it get real diplomatic and, I think what we can do to make this right. And I'm like, I don't have that.
You bark. You loud, you overtalk, and you feel like you're always right.
Y'all just call me a minion and tell me I do all the footwork.
You're getting some inside people into what goes on behind the scenes.
So because I know he is that way, I was like, why would I approach her the same way? And then I see how they.
Right.
I'll be honest. In the beginning, some of the knockout fights that these 2 had, because when
I'm
you
always
with
doing
somebody,
the knockouts.
when you with somebody for that amount of years, like, you get real comfortable. So it's real quick to be like, you know what, just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And it's like and it's like, wow, okay. And here I am, and it's ooh, okay.
But me and him, when we fight, it's bad.
But
it's never physical. It's only like argumentative.
But
that's all.
The thing is that it's not, even now, it's not as bad as it used to be, because even they've grown and their communication has gotten way better. But it's like, you don't want to, because he is so that way, overbearing sometimes. Why would I approach her the same way? It's not, it's not the way I am. I'm a talker. I like to think about what I'm going to say, make sure my words are set, and like that's the way I do it. I still get the same message across. I'm just like rah, rah, rah when I do it.
Right. So it's interesting for you because you stepped into an established relationship. So how long did it take before you really felt comfortable and like you felt on a sort of even space with Drea, so to speak?
It took a long time.
Okay.
It took a long time because, you know, when you are together with someone, it's like a natural ebb and flow.
Right.
So to come into the middle of that, it's really difficult. So, but even it was, you know, it's because it's not a typical kind of relationship. You know, even things like, you know, him trying to be affectionate in front of people, and it's like, people watching, like, you know, you don't understand, you don't know where you're at in the beginning, especially in the beginning. So it took a really long time to like get comfortable and feel like, okay, I am a part of this relationship too.
So do you like walk down the street with both of them and you're holding both of their hands? Like you do that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You scared?
Again, I don't care. I don't care. Like I don't care about public opinion or perception. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it don't bother me. Like I know sometimes, like, you know, you get like the older Spanish ladies that look, and it's just like, you know,
Mira,
it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah. I like to be affectionate with my woman. I'm an affectionate person, so.
Right. So as it was, again, talking to different people about the show and coming up with ideas for questions, a woman said to me, you know, she got a little upset as we were talking about it. And she was like, you know, F that. Why can't a woman have two men and, you know, be looked at the same way as a dude? Like, oh, he's a pimp and da-da-da. So what's your sort of your response to that? Do you think there's a double standard? All of y'all.
Oh, y'all can answer
absolutely.
For sure.
Even the terminology, when you talk about just a sexual piece, when a man has it, it's a threesome. When a woman has it, she's getting a train run off.
It's a gangbang.
It's
a gangbang.
It's just even the terminology, straight off back. Like,
Right.
why y'all gotta be so like? My thing is live and let live. If a woman chooses to have two men, and it's out there, because if you, again, as you do the research and you look, there's plenty of women out there, and both men, you know, they have sometimes they have relationships within themselves. Sometimes the men have relationships with other women. It's an open triangle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a lot of different levels to this. Live and let live. If she chooses to have two whole men, let her have them. Don't be judgmental.
Okay.
I support it.
Yeah. And just because he's made it very clear that's what he's not into. And that's fine, because at this moment in time, I'm fine with that. She's fine with that. If for some point at time I decided that I wanted to have two whole men, I know I couldn't do it in this circle, so I would have to move on. I would have to decide whether or not what this is here, if this is what I'm going to choose to keep up, I'm going to move on and do something different.
Okay.
Jay?
Interesting.
I mean, like I said, I'm with it. I support it. It's a goal one day. I'm still gonna get you to change your mind on it. Like,
now that we got that clear, I'm a grown ass man. That for me, like, nah, I'm too big of a dude. Like, it's just, I guess, a masculine thing. But to whoever is into that, whatever floats your boat. If it makes you happy, like I said, if it makes you happy, do what you do. I just know it's not for me. So I get hit with that question a lot too. Well, what if your women wanted another man? I'm like, I would give them my blessing. It just wouldn't be with me. I'm not into that. You dig what I'm saying?
I feel you.
I'm not, nah. What Biggie said, 2 dicks and 1 chick, find yourself in some serious shit. I'm good with that. Y'all can keep that.
And there you have it.
But no knock to you. If that's what you into, and you can make it work, females. If you can make it work and you got 2 dudes to make it work, do what makes you happy. Because to be honest with you, this is what I live by. I'm going to do what makes me happy. Because guess what? After you tell me what you don't like, you're going to turn around and go do whatever makes you happy. So I'm going to do the same.
Right.
That's all.
And Charlie just let you know how he feels about that.
There you go.
president.
No bueno.
So again, as I was doing some research, I came across, some do's and don'ts about polyamorous relationships. And you guys let me know.
You found a book?
Just on, I'm sure there are books out there, but
Right.
this is more so on the internet, looking
I
up
guess
stuff.
you didn't read that link that I sent you.
I did. I actually did read it. I just want to know if Legacy found the book.
No, I didn't. Y'all got to put me onto that. So the first one, don't coerce your relationship into a predefined shape. So for you, and I guess, just in general, if you're stepping into a situation that's pre-established, should you look at it like, oh, I'm going to make this situation better? Did you have that mindset?
You hope that who you are as a person brings something positive to the table. But it's kind of like, with Will and Jada, you go be happy on your own if that's what makes you happy, and then you bring the happiness back. Like,
Okay.
I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I could bring my happiness to the table, and hopefully that's a positive to you. But I can't make you happy if you're not.
Okay.
I mean,
I got you. Right,
so-
right. Okay. Drea, how do you feel about that?
Me and her, we've been through a lot of, trying to get our relationship to kind of work. And I even brought it to the table to him. I was like, look, if me and her don't work, she makes you happy, I'm gonna support that, no matter what.
Okay.
So I don't really do the shape thing. Like
Right,
that's just
right,
not
right.
for me. It's like, okay, if we all in this, we love each other. That's what it is. I don't need to put a shape or anything to it. If she makes him happy, hey, I'm gonna support that. Like, like if it was separate, I'm still here.
Right.
I'm rocking out. Like,
Right. I feel you. Okay. Mr. Rock?
Yeah, I don't try to like put, an assumption or do anything of that nature when it comes to this. We're making it work. So even when I first heard the terms about being in a poly relationship, I'm like, that's cool, but in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be put in this box. This is about a relationship. It's the same thing as saying to somebody, or somebody saying to the extent like, oh, I'm engaged just to be engaged. Your relationship is shit, or I'm married,
Right.
and you have no real
Right.
relationship, but because you're married, you're put in this box. You want to be put in this box because you have a ring and you got a certificate that says you're married.
Right.
The relationship is the most important. Like, what we have is the most important part to this, opposed to being some type of shape or feeling like, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
I feel you.
that's what's more important.
I mean, and to realistically, for us, this is both of us, our first relationship with a woman. So even that piece is like, how do you know how that's going to be? You never even had it before. So it's like, to navigate that, that's different as well. So it's like, it's
Okay.
kind of difficult to like, put that amount of pressure on it. This is what it's going to be and this is it.
Right. Yeah, listening to you guys talk, it sounds like there are many different levels to the relationship, many different dynamics.
Right.
Because as you said, it's an odd number. So it's you and Drea and Maria and Rock, and
Right.
it's sounds like a very complex situation to deal with.
I will say this. I don't like. A lot of people will judge what they see only by what they see. So social media is like, oh, they have a great relationship, which we do.
Right.
But there's many a nights where we couldn't figure things out, where there's fighting going on, where we arguing.
Right.
And like you said in the beginning, any relationship, a lot of communication and a lot of, you have to be willing to sit down and listen, understand, put ego aside, and that's what causes you to grow. So
Right.
we've been through a lot. It ain't peaches and cream, and everything isn't a walk in the park.
Right,
But
right.
we all here for the same reason, because we all love and support each other. So
I was just about to say it sounds like it would take, three individuals who are very mature. They're not petty, and they don't let things like jealousy and, whatnot interfere in the relationship.
I'm glad you brought that up. Ladies, I'm sorry, I'm not cutting y'all off. Go ahead.
I mean, yes, idealistically, we're all mature, we are level-headed, and, but let's be realistic, we're all human. Emotions happen, you know what I mean? Jealousy happens, you know what I mean? Hurt feelings, feeling left out.
Right.
It happens, it's natural, but, you have to be responsible of your feelings and, you know what I mean? And,
Right.
manage them because, just, again, like I said, talked about perspective, you know what I mean? Perspective could be that, you're jealous of whatever moment of whatever's going on, but it doesn't mean that that's what the intention of it is.
I got you.
So-
Okay.
I'm a little crazy.
No,
I'm not
really.
No, I'm not. No, I'm a little jealous. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But it's not to the point that you're gonna put me in like the crazy bitch category. But I'm human. I'm human. I get jealous. Like I've been with him for damn near 8 years, so you know it's a little different when it's just kind of like I don't get that attention no more, or you know I can't spend all the time that I want with him because you know there's a third person here that I have to think about.
Right.
So you know I get my moments, but I'm cool. Like
Okay.
I ain't never woke up like bald or nothing. So.
I hope not.
hanging from the ceiling. Like,
She did put my hair in the freezer one time. On that shit I got over there, she did something like that with my hair.
Oh, word?
When I first met Drea, she was trying to cross the border. This is how we met.
Oh
and she was in the
my God.
Santeria, so this is how.
Seriously?
You dig what I'm saying?
you really gonna say that?
Nah, but on a serious note, like I think the jealousy question is the biggest thing people ask me about. It's like, don't they get jealous? And I try to tell people like jealousy is an emotion. You're gonna get jealous whether you're in a relationship with 10 people or one person.
Right.
It's an emotion. Just like being happy is an emotion, being sad is an emotion. You're gonna go through these things. It's how you deal with it that makes it different. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay. So this next one, I thought this was a very interesting one. So I'm interested to hear your take on it. Do understand that your needs have nothing directly to do with your partner's other partner. Does that make sense?
I get
So
what you're saying.
your needs have nothing to do with Maria's
My
needs. Maria's needs has nothing to do with Drea's needs and blah, blah, blah. Do
I
you
also
agree with
read that. I also read that like, for instance, and this is me. It sounds like it's more like a, well, if she's mad at me because she's not getting time, it's not Maria's fault. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
Nah.
good point. Good
But
point.
when again, when you're in a relationship like that, when anybody has an issue, it should be addressed by all. I'm not saying every situation needs to be addressed between the three of us, because there's many a times like we'll talk, and I'm like, you guys got to figure this out. It's I'm not the reason, so
Right.
you guys got to figure it out. And then there's times where it's like, all right, somebody may feel some type of way. We all need to come together and figure out how can we fix this. So
Okay. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you know,
it sounds like she's
If-
like, no.
No, I'm.
it's my needs may not be what hers. You know what I mean? What's important to me may not be as important to her. So of course, I think that you know we're all individuals in this. We're not one lump. So
Right.
you always got to bring what you are, who you are, what your needs are to the table, because they can't get addressed any other way.
Okay. And I guess this next question would be considered advice. So if someone is thinking about getting into this type of relationship,
Don't do it.
Run away. Run away. Get you an Xbox.
okay.
Suck it up, man. Just do it.
Get you a beat machine.
What is, and I guess would be a perfect situation. So for someone who is getting into a relationship with two people, what are some of the things you should pay attention to? And then for two people in an established relationship, for a third person to come in, what do you look at in that regard? So for someone going into the relationship, what were some of the things you would look out for?
I have to, some of the stuff that I regretted that I didn't do in the beginning was to be more mindful of Drea's perspective on the relationship, on how this would, because he and I had already been friends because we were we were
Right.
talking for a long time. So I didn't respect the fact that, you know, she wanted to know me as a person just as much as he did.
Okay.
So I should have paid more attention to that. So you have to make sure that you pay attention to the fact that there's two separate people in this. And like, you know, we keep talking about needs and communication. You have to make sure that you're addressing each person and figuring out what their needs are, what's their their best mode of communication, you know, how to work with them, because, you know, what works for one may not work for another.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's kind of like, you know, slowly stepping into what is already established.
Right. Okay. And for people already in a relationship,
A lot of communication. A lot.
that's
Keep it open. Keep it all on the table.
right.
And to me, I guess it was more of me and him. We built like a real strong foundation. So it's just kind of like I have a lot of trust in him. So it wasn't super hard for me to, you know, try this lifestyle with him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a lot of communication that you have to have between each other.
Right.
But just have that, keep it all open.
Okay. Okay. Would you agree, Charlie?
Run away. I agree with both they said. I'm big on vibes. Like for me, it was like if they get along, like music could be going great, job could be great. When they not right, it don't sit right with me. You know what I'm saying? So when they right, I'm good. You know, I say happy wife, happy life. Same situation. If you're gonna make it work, or if it's something you want to try, be open, keep communication on the table, and be real about it up front. Whatever feelings you're going through, whatever doubts you may have, whatever you may be scared of, put it all on the table. It's the only way it's going to work, because it's only going to work when you guys get to a common denominator. And the common denominator between us is that, at the end of the day, we all love and care about each other.
Right.
This is why it works. If you don't do that, it won't work.
Okay. Like that. I like that. So now, logistical questions about the relationship that have come up, because a lot of women I spoke to like, how does this work and how does that work? So, and Charlie and I spoke about this. How do you decide who gets to sit in the front seat of the car when you guys go out somewhere?
Who gets there first? I don't know. Like
That's it? It's just as simple as that?
I'm glad you said that, because a girl would be like, she'll ask me all the deepest questions in the world. I'll give her every good answer. And then that question,
Right.
who sits in the front? And then they be like, I see what it is now. Like, what?
Yeah, it's mad random.
Like, we
whoever
don't-
gets the
nobody-
seat
yeah.
first, like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's the front seat is not a throne. So it's not like whoever's sitting here is the most important one.
Right.
So,
No, you sit in the back.
right. Nah.
It's not like that, right? Okay. I think you kind of answered this already. Are there solo dates between two without the third person around?
Yeah. When you spend time together with people, even if it's just a simple like going to get something, grabbing something real quick to eat, running to the movies. It needs to be, And I'll be honest, in the beginning for me, working on all of this, it kind of was like, I'll be man enough to say this. It kind of was like me and Drea kind of were like going through it, and it was like I have to also remember that we still have a relationship. So in order for all of this to work, me and her have to be on the same page before me, her, and Maria can be on the same page.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I feel you. Okay. And you answered this already. When there's a disagreement, does a third person stay in it or mediate or what have you?
I leave out the boxing gloves. I tell them to deal with it.
I mind my business.
I can see that. So I guess last question, what would you say is all three of you enjoy doing the most? Like what activity?
I let them
sleeping and eating. Sleeping and eating.
Food?
That's about it.
Okay.
Jay?
I just said
I
eating.
just said.
Like,
All right, listen.
going out to get food. Like,
And yes, the obvious is what we all enjoy as well. But that is real amazing.
Wait, I wasn't even going there.
Oh,
That's
listen.
because that's the problem is that as everybody sees this, that's the first thing that they
Right,
think of.
right,
They forget
right.
that there is an actual relationship behind all of that.
But yes, it is great. On the flip side to that, no, like I love, like I think, I hate to say this, I think we all get excited when it's time to go eat. Like it's almost like this is disgusting. Like we get excited to go out, and I'm always excited to go try some new food.
That's good. That's great. That's
Definitely bonded over
some
food.
fat people stuff.
Yeah.
hey, you got to be healthy. Eat healthy, man. So, I just want to, again, thank you guys for coming on the show and sharing a little piece of your lives with us. It's, I know it's very personal, so I really appreciate it. I actually think we could do another show with you guys a little bit later on. So, we could talk about that. But, Charlie, Dre, and Maria, thank you for coming through and joining me on the conversation to talk about polyamorous relationships. Any parting words you want to leave with the people?
I want to say thank you for having us.
Sure.
Also, definitely for it being a dope show, and because I know you didn't ask no crazy fuckboy
of course
questions.
not.
So
Of course not.
I appreciate you, bro.
Of course.
You were 13, my guy.
This is real interesting stuff, real topics with real people about real conversations, So that's what we do here. Definitely, as always, check out new episodes every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on madeforkings.com. I am Roger A. Franco, and this is The Conversation. Have a good night.